Greetings, cultivators worldwide. Jordan River here, back with more Growcast, now with a fresh coat of chrome. Today, we've got the one and only Christina from Chrome 6 on the line. If you're a member, you've seen her guest before, and you've certainly heard of her on this podcast. She was the one who worked the duck confit that I've talked so much about. Really excited to finally have her on the show. It's a fantastic episode about pheno hunting, flavors, hashing, and so much more. I know you're going to love it. Before we jump into it with Christina, shout out to AC Infinity. That's right. They make the best grow gear on the market. ACinfinity.com, code GROWCAST15 saves you 10%. That is the maximum discount. We've had the code forever. We've been partners with AC Infinity for years. And why? It's because they make the best tents you can get your hands on. They make the best inline fans, the best oscillating fans. They make really, really great quality accessories like scissors, pots, ratchet hangers, and things like that. And now they also have lights. They've got the ion board and now the ion frame bar style. Really, really great stuff at AC Infinity. Get the whole grow kit you've been after. You know, you can get a 3x3 kit, a 5x5 kit. You know you want another one. Just go ahead and pop over there. Use code GROWCAST15 always at checkout for the max discount. And thank you for supporting us and AC Infinity. We love them so much. They make our favorite grow gear out there. I'm looking at 2 AC Infinity tents in my biodome, and you won't regret grabbing one. Use code GROWCAST15 at ACinfinity.com. Thank you to AC Infinity. All right, let's get into it with Christina from Chrome 6. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to Growcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in again today. Before we get started, as always, I urge you to share this show. Turn a grower on to Growcast, or better yet, turn a smoker on to growing. We've got a brand new beginner's guide. I think it's the best ever created. It's at growcast.com. Send a smoker to Growcast. Tell them to get growing. It's how you help us on our mission of overgrow. Make sure you're subscribed. We're all the places. And growcast.com is the new website. Find everything there. Membership, seeds, classes, and more. All right, we're back into it. It is 2025. We're into a new year here. Got a lot going on this year. Big events, brand new website, like I said, has rolled out. And what better way to kick off the new year than with a new guest? You may recognize her if you're in membership already. She's been on Growcast TV before. Her work has been discussed on this show quite a bit, if you've heard me talking about the duck confit. From Oklahoma medical scene, from Chrome 6, from so much more, we have Christina on the line. What's up, Christina?
Not much, Jordan. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on the podcast here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's catch up for people who haven't seen your Growcast TV yet. Let's introduce you as a cultivator. I think you're a really awesome cultivator. I think you're a really good member of the cannabis cultivation community who has an eye forward for patience. And you have a lot of pheno hunting experience, which I love to talk about. But like I said, let's start from the beginning. Talk to me a little bit about your cultivation history and then the creation and story of Chrome 6.
Well, I first started trying to grow weed in my backyard in about 1999. And my dog at the time pruned it really heavily for me. And then my father-in-law came by and said, pull that shit out if you want to stay living in this house.
Oh, man.
And so then after that, we moved it to inside of a closet, at which time the laws in Oklahoma were so scary and prohibitive that we decided we never were really successful in flowering. And so when legalization happened in 2018, we were very, very keen to try our hand. And so my husband actually started the garden, quickly realized that it was going to take a lot more time and effort than he was going to be able to put in. And so I took over, but I never wanted to be a cannabis grower because I kind of saw the writing on the wall for flower or biomass. So my kind of true goal was to do a solventless company. I just left working for a cart company, and we dealt with, the big vape crisis of 2019.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, before we dig in more, it's interesting. Okay, let's travel back to 2019. Oklahoma comes online, like you said. As somebody who's lived there your whole life, was that a surprise to you?
It was shocking. It was truly shocking.
Right?
We have one senator that had a nephew, I think, that was benefiting from it. And he really pushed medical through. I mean, that's really what happened here.
That's really interesting because, first of all, you shouldn't, ideally, if someone's in power, they would be thinking of other people and their needs before it happens to them personally. But okay, so it happens to you. You have a story of somebody in your family who's using this cannabis. No matter what his other views are, shout out to him for actually being real and then pushing for that legislation, right? It bothers me when we see so many people who we find out are anti-cannabis, but secretly giving their son the CBD. All right. So that's very interesting. And it's interesting that it happened in Oklahoma. I would have never guessed it was going to go legal there. So that's wild.
Oh, it completely turned our entire world upside down. I mean, it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking, but it was great. As a parent, I was able to be open with my child and not have to focus so much on, hiding, because no longer was I doing something illegal. So that was really great. That's when I opened Bloom. And we started doing that at doctor's recommendations and taking care of the patients from that end.
Bloom Healthcare, your medical card company down there in Oklahoma.
Yes. But the landscape in Oklahoma, it just changes so fast. The legislation changes so fast, and it's so hard for small businesses.
Right.
So in 2023, we decided to move to Oklahoma City from where we were. We were rural. And in that moving process, the legalities and the legislation, we realized it was just not going to be feasible for us. So we decided to close up. So it's been, almost a year and a half now since we've been completely done. And so that's been a year of me being able to lean into growing for fun and not growing for commercial.
Well, listen,
which has been different.
You did great, though. I'm sorry to keep interjecting here, but I have talked about Chrome 6 on this podcast before. We've met so many of the lovely people who worked with you. And I do want to say that I know Chrome 6 isn't around anymore, but your journey was very impactful and very inspiring.
Well, I had a great team and I met some really amazing, amazing people. And we had so much fun. And it really opened up my eyes to what cannabis cultivation really, really is. And it made me better educated about a lot of things that I really didn't understand. And I grew up on a dairy farm. We grew up with chickens, and being in gardens and things were something I did my whole entire life, but it wasn't ever like instilled in me. And, the passion to grow cannabis is something I'm going to continue with forever. And now I grow my own fruits and vegetables in the summer, and I'm, it plants a seed literally inside you.
That's a good way to look at it.
But it's been fun. It's been liberating being able to grow weed just for me. And if something doesn't produce a lot and I still want to grow it, I can grow it and not have to worry about what that means.
Hobby versus profession.
It's also it's nice, really nice, not chasing strains too. And just really getting to focus on what I like and what I want.
I want to get into all of that. That sounds fantastic. So listen, I do want to say, again, you did a lot of impactful work. You were very patient focused. You're still very patient focused. You made a good impact on the cannabis community. You created some really good medicine to pass around to people. And I know a lot of people miss your brand. So let's talk about that, because you're right. I think you did it right, Christina. There's lots of different ways to run a cultivation facility. You guys were seed to solventless. You hunted all your own strains. And you didn't push product through testing when it was moldy and all this dog crap that a lot of these big companies do. You really did it right. What did you learn through all of that? Specifically through the pheno hunting. Not many people are out there like popping these seeds, hunting them, and then creating the rosin. Yeah,
I was shocked by that. Was one thing that was a good thing for me to understand too, is that a lot of commercial facilities don't deal with their own genetics. They just buy clones, or they just
almost all of them. Why would they, Christina? Why would they take the time? It's about the bottom line, okay?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why I'm not in business anymore, Jordan.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
That's the formula. The care,
what a sense of humor.
No, that's not true.
No, that is exactly right, Christina. You guys went the extra mile. You wanted something unique, and you hunted stuff that was unique. You've really had your hand in the modern genetic cannabis gene pool. What have you learned from that and gleaned from so many different, strains and cultivars over the years?
That there's more than 3 flavors. I used to think it was skunk, gas, and scat. And now, really?
There's at least 4.
There's at least 4 now. No, but I've learned that the genetics are just so, so varied. And, the number one thing I've learned is that sativa and indica don't mean a damn thing to me, but they mean everything to the consumer. And so You have to buy into that to be able to have a conversation with, I would consider a layperson. But you talk about the actual terpenes and stuff like that, and people just kind of glaze over. But that's kind of what my focus always was. I found things that made me feel great. And then I figured out what terpenes were in those things. And then I just looked for that expression, those flavors, those smells, all of those different things. And so just the fact that anything is out there, everything is out there. If you can imagine smelling it, there's a weed that's going to have those notes in it. You just got to go find it.
That's so amazing. I love that. And it's true. Let's jump around a little bit. What is that flavor profile for you? I know there's a couple that you like, but what is good weed to you in 2025?
I think you would describe it as a chem, maybe a fruity chem. I like what I consider gas, and I think there's two spectrums to gas. There's a heavy fuel flavor, and then there's a weed that makes you go, go, go. And I'm more of the heavy fuel flavor. I would prefer strains that are more sedative. I have a lot of anxiety. I have a racing brain. And so I like things that calm all of that and allow me to really focus on my task. It's very rare I'm going to go for a Jack Herrera unless I know what I'm going to do and use it for.
Unless you're about to commit a crime.
Exactly. Or I need to go hard for about 12 hours, we can hit that. But most of the time, I'm looking for something that's just unique and really complex. I like things to have, layers to them and not just, I just don't want to be slammed with one flavor and that's it. I'm done.
Right.
The smoking is an experience. And so I just want to have that overall experience from the time I smell it in the bag till the time I exhale it. I want to be feeling and understanding and tasting things that I enjoy.
Are there any profiles that you don't care for? I get a lot of hate because I have said on this show before that I don't really like a lot of the Jack strains, a lot of the Jack crosses, a lot of the Jack terps and things like that. I get a lot of heat for that. People love that shit. Is there anything that you think, is a little bit lacking?
For me, it's Blue Dream.
Oh, get out of here.
Blue Dream.
You have no idea what kind of trouble you're about to cause.
I know. And not being from California, I think that's weird to hear somebody in the middle part of the country to say, because it's mostly only California people that hear that. But I've just never had great experiences with it. And it just doesn't do the things for me. And so I really avoid that.
That is so funny.
Like a lot. If I smell any hint of it in a flower, I tend to just run away from it.
What about hash? Same exact, are those still your favorite? Or do you prefer a different profile with your hash?
I love the fruits and the gases with hash.
Yeah.
And I love a good Gorilla Glue hash. That's probably my all-time favorite.
Ooh.
Just give me a good GG4 hash and I'll be good.
You're set. It's the same, you know exactly what to expect, For
the most part, yep.
So what about, back to this idea of pheno hunting and having popped so many different seeds for Chrome 6 and for your personal garden, are there any other specific things that you're looking at when you're looking through a bunch of plants that, maybe aside from I want this flavor or I want, a good structure, the things that people say, what are some things you look for when pheno hunting?
So something that's really important to me is not spending my entire life trimming. I grow in a modified closet at home. And so I have a little bit more height that I can kind of play with. And so I let my plants get a little longer, taller. I like things that are a little lankier. That way there's not quite so much trimming and maintenance during flower. And then I hate trim jail. It is not my favorite place to be. And so I really focus on structures that do that. I also like virility because I don't have a lot of space. I have a pretty small area for my veg. I tend to grow my plants and clone them pretty regularly. So they go through a lot of cycles, which is really hard on the genetics. And so I tend to try to find things that can handle that too. So any sign of weakness, I cull a lot. A lot.
So you're not lenient in your garden. Do you think that a lot of growers, and I know it's different, right? It's a case by case basis, but personally, I see a lot of growers that maybe are a little too lenient.
Yes.
They're like, oh man, I can't get this right. And they want to learn and be a better grower. They're like, there should be something that I should be able to change to please this plant to make it happy. And sometimes the answer is to just, maybe it's just not working. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so for me, growing is 50% genetics and 50% epigenetics. And, the consistency, having routine, expectations that's all great. But if you do not have good genetics, and I have experienced this time and time again because I've had a lot of crappy genetics that I've worked through, it doesn't matter what you do because your genetics are going to be your genetics. There's a maximum potential there, but there's a low floor.
Yeah.
And so looking for things, that taste good and have great effects is really important. I don't care so much about the smell anymore now that I'm not trying to sell it. Like now I'm really focused just on, I still like it to look pretty, but I'm focused on it really just having a good effect and not taking up too much of my time maintaining it. Yeah, but I really want good effects,
I like that. And yeah, I agree. I think sometimes we get so hung up on like, this is this lineage or this is this flavor. And a bigger question is, does it work in your garden? Does it work for you? Let's put it that way. Does it work for you medicinally? And does it like actually do well and produce in your garden? I think that's good advice to take a look at those things. Yes, you do like a low leaf to bud ratio. I know that about you. And your duck confit cut, which we're going to get to later in this episode, is a great example of that.
Yes.
That is one of the fastest trimmers. If you bottom prune that cut correctly, you clip the top colas and you're like literally clip, 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 done. Like that's the entire branch.
It's one water leaf at every node and that's it.
Totally, yeah.
That's literally it.
And like 4 frost leaves sticking out in the main cola.
Yeah. And if you did it really well, then you could even leave those on there and save those for your food grade and not even trim all that up because that's what I do.
That's what I do too. I'm a big fan of leaving on frosty sugar leaves. I really do think there's something with certain cultivars. Obviously, I'm not going to leave on something that doesn't push frost out that far.
No,
but yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's. This is getting too happy though. Let's bring it back.
Okay. Oh no.
Let's bring it back to some sad topics. What are some of the best cultivars you've found throughout Chrome 6 and lost? Like I know now that it's over. It's like not all of them are full, but I mean ones that you lost like during your run.
Okay, so I actually looked at my spreadsheet because last time we talked when I was on live, I did not have the numbers in front of me, but I pulled up my spreadsheet, so I have the numbers here. And
oh my God.
So the hardest loss we had was our sex monkey, and that produced a 7% rosin.
Whoa.
It was beautiful.
Is that like a pretty massive, isn't like 7 or 8% like pretty massive return?
Yes. So 4% are generally considered keepers commercially. And so this is a 7%er. We're talking about in, resin ranges. We're talking about BHO ranges we're getting into. So it literally dumped. It was so lovely.
And what was the sex monkey was?
I know you're going to ask me that. And I don't have that up. That was
I got it.
Concentrated genetics.
It's 12 monkeys crossed to Sex Panther. It's got it's got
job.
GMO in it.
Georgia.
It's got Fatso in it. It's got Star Dog in it, and it's got cookies, GG4, and Star Dog on the other side. So
it was just. I mean, it was amazing, and I lost that because we got russet mites. So that went in the russet mite.
Oh no!
And then the other thing I lost during the Great Russet Mite Challenge was the Stropicana.
Oh, I loved that one. I got to experience that one quite a bit.
I mean, the flavor profile on that. So it didn't yield great, and we hadn't grown that many plants. We just threw it in the back of the refrigerator, and we ended up winning 3rd place at Hash Camp with it. I think that's what we entered. I can't remember.
Some old ass Stropicana.
Oh, it was so well cured, and it was so funky.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, we took it to an event and we blind tested it with people, and we wouldn't tell them what it was until after they had smelled it. And I mean, and it just smelled like strawberry and baby diapers.
Yeah. I think that's a good description. I think it's very complex. I think you probably ask 20 people, get 20 different answers off that Stropicana is my guess. But I think that's nailed it. You've nailed it pretty well there, which is like fruit smoothie that got tossed into a dumpster full of poo-poo diapers.
But those were my 2 biggest like losses as far as things that I probably would still have right now. And then my Girl Scout cookie, that was a bag seed. That's my, when I'm feeling the crummy in the tummies, I smoke that and it takes everything away. This was the one that Crohn's patients loved. Like anybody that had any kind of PMS, any kind of stomach thing. I mean, this was the thing. And that's gone too.
And that was a Girl Scout cookie bag seed. Did you just...
That was a Girl Scout cookie bag seed.
Were you really impressed with the flower that you got the seed from?
It yielded so much flower on these little bushy plants. It was so hardy. It made it through the russet mites. I mean, it was impenetrable. And the thing that killed it was my light leak this last year at my house. Like that was the thing that just destroyed it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So you had that Girl Scout cookie, but that wasn't a Girl Scout cookie cut or whatever.
Nope.
That was your own
No.
S1, probably S1.
Maybe. But
Maybe
it was
S1.
I mean, maybe. It was pretty. I mean, it was I felt like it was a pretty standard Girl Scout cookie. It just had I don't know, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I was so sad to see that plant go. So
Wow.
sad.
Wow.
You know.
Well, I loved both of those ones that were lost to time. That Stropicana I got to try quite a bit and was really, really good. One of my favorites. And then the Sex Monkey was also amazing. I didn't get as much of it. Are there any building blocks that you really find are frequently in your favorite hashers on that list of yours? Because we're looking at the Sex Monkey lineage here. It's got GG4 in it. You mentioned that. It's got GMO in it. I see a lot of GMO. What are your favorite building blocks for hashers?
You know, I used to mostly stick with companies that kind of had a good track record for that. So I looked at, you know, a lot of the things that like in-house genetics did. I know Mickey and the work that he had done and the access he had to clones. And so I felt comfortable and confident because he was really focused on growing for BHO. And then I knew he got good yields and he was really happy with the production that he had out of his genetics. And then I ran into Soulfire genetics, and I know they're not like super, super popular, but I had run a couple of their things and I was really impressed. And so I've kind of played around with their stuff and mixed some of their stuff with my stuff and had kind of fun with their genetics. So for me, it hasn't so much been because I don't take cuts because I'm very bug worried.
Holy shit.
You know, after sleeping in your grow for 2 months, fighting russet mites, just trying to say whatever you can say, you definitely aren't going to take a cut.
I do love the politically correct term you use.
Bug afraid.
Yeah, totally. You're a bug impacted individual.
I am. I might have some bug PTSD that will be worked through in the future, but once you go through some of those things, you have a different perspective. And I think it's great that people share genetics, but you know, with HLP and all the other thyroids and all the things that are out there, for me, I'm just going to deal with what genetically is already in these seeds and these plants and hope for the best.
Well, listen, if I popped seeds every run for the rest of my life, I wouldn't get through my seed bank. So I definitely appreciate that. Let's move on to the story of the duck confit. Perfect time to talk about it. Speaking of popping seeds, the story of this Terp Wizard cross, duck confit, this is the one that I mean, listen, you've had some amazing different types of medicine come out of Chrome 6. But the one that I think that I heard the most about, like around the community and stuff, was that duck confit. The rosin that you produced with that was so good, so complex. You open the jar and you're immediately hit with this like swampy, sulfurous, muckety muck, nasty swamp funk, and immediately you recoil. You're like, whoa! And then you go and smell it again, and it's still got that, but the longer you leave it open, the more that swampiness kind of gasses off, and you're left with this super pleasant, super palatable, grape cakey type back end. It's got the whole EQ, the whole equilibrium, the whole sound profile from bass to treble. It's really an amazing cut. Can you tell the story and remind me of exactly how that went?
I don't know. There was somebody handing somebody seeds, and then, you know, you said you've got to do something with this. And I said, okay, I'll go do something with this.
No, I got Terp Wizard sent us some free seeds, and then what? Did I give you?
Yeah, we had run into each other. We were hanging out. Yeah, and I think I got two. I don't know, but you were like really excited about it, and I was specifically looking for what are the crosses in the duck confit. This is my weakness. If I don't write it down a million times, I can't ever remember.
Oh, it's a Bicket OG cross
OG.
to Grape Cream Cake F2.
Yes.
Yeah, the Bicket is
Yeah, so I'm a huge grape fan, and I was looking for the funk of the Bicket, and you were like, "Oh my gosh!" and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I immediately, I think the next day, popped those seeds.
Wow.
And I only popped one, so I think you might have given me two. We probably split a pack of 6.
That was the only seed you popped?
That was the only, and I never only pop one seed. I am a minimum 3 seed popper, but I prefer popping between like 10 and 20 if I can. And so I only popped the one seed. or maybe it was 2. I need to go count the seeds I have left in the thing. But anyways, there was the only thing that survived, and I just wasn't sure, and I was so worried because you were so excited about it, and you were doing so much traveling. And I mean, I just was like, okay, this plant has to do well. This plant has to do well. And then it took off, and I really liked the structure. I was like, okay, let's run it. And it did beautifully. So I don't have let me look again real quick. I don't think I have how much.
Yeah, it wasn't the biggest yielder you had, right? But it was doable, if I remember correctly.
Yes. No, it was within the range of reasonable, especially when you have something that has such a complex flavor. You could do it as a special drop and, put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah.
But it was lovely. It was such a nice hash. It was pretty. It was creamy. It was so funky. And the people did recoil at it. The flower's lovely too. I mean, I like that plant. They would recoil. That's my goal as a hash maker when we were making hash. And I say the hash maker, I very rarely had the opportunity to actually spend any time in the lab. That was
Sure.
Evan and Dusty. I was in the garden with M. But when we would be in an event and I would open a jar and people would have to step back just a little bit, I was like, yeah, we've done something right. That's how you know. And I just
funny you mentioned that. I have a little story about that later, but I agree. Those are all my favorite type of strains. I can't believe that you popped 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And got that, and Christina, the flower is really good. It's great flower, but the rosin is spectacular. The rosin is an 11 out of 10. And you might not think that the rosin would turn out just like that from the flower. Did you experience a little bit of finickiness with it, or did it work perfect in your garden? She's a little sensitive. She's sensitive to light. She's sensitive to heat.
So when I had a cut over here at the house, and so it was definitely one of the things I wanted to keep. And when I moved her into the home garden, I did a quick little run thinking that everything would be, easy peasy. And she hermed out like fast. And I was just kind of shocked. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it was funny because I said something to you about light leak at the time. And this was, over a year ago. And you were like, yeah, you got to make sure you don't have any light leak in there. And I was like, okay. And I talked to my husband about it. He went in there. He was like, no, it's fine. But it was the only plant out of the dozen that I was growing that looked like even an issue. And so I was like, okay, so I killed it. I had it cloned. So I killed that one off. I kind of let it sit for a little bit, and I skipped it a run and just let it veg and let it kind of have a timeout. And so the run after that, I ran it again. And this time it way hermed, way hermed.
That's crazy. I just put it through the ringer and it didn't herm. I mean, it was too hot. It was too high of nitrogen. I didn't have any light leaks, I don't think. But didn't you get that sorted, though? Didn't you find a big light leak in your grow?
Somebody came by my house and looked for me and was like, holy shit, Christina, there's a floodlight on 3 of your plants all night long.
I thought it was a picture you sent me. But yeah, I remember the crack under the door was 2 inches.
Exactly. But it was good. I mean, we fixed it, and I'm halfway through my first run without a light leak in the room.
Nice. Listen, you're a pro. When you're a pro, you're a pro. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. I'm pretty sure that I was very frustrated for a lot of the last year with that light leak. And commercially, when I was doing the commercial stuff, I was insane. That never.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no light anything happening anywhere.
Well, no, of course. This is, I think, one of the things your story really exemplifies, Christina, if I may say so, is the difference between doing this thing for a living and doing this thing for a hobby. And there's positives and negatives to both.
Yeah.
There's 2 sides of the coin, everybody. This is a huge life lesson, and it applies outside of cannabis. There's 2 sides of the coin. One side of the coin is work a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That shit is true. There's another side of that coin that's equally true, which is never ruin your hobby by turning it into your profession.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out which side of that coin or on which, where on that spectrum you land, because there are positives and negatives to both. Having it as a hobby can be a beautiful thing because then you can actually enjoy yourself. But your results might go down a little bit, Christina, because you just don't care as much. It's a good thing that you don't care as much. Whereas obviously on the other side of the coin, you can burn yourself out trying to make it your job. You'll make more of an impact. You'll help more people. But, you can find yourself doing everything except the thing that you love, and you ruin your hobby by turning it into your profession. So I think that you've done well on both sides. And now that we got that light leak fixed, we're going to be humming.
Yeah. It's good. No, the current run's looking amazing, and I've got fun stuff to play with, and we'll see what happens.
New and improved Growcast membership has launched, along with a brand new website. Go to growcast.com for our brand shiny, spanking new website. You can find everything there. First of all, we've got a beginner's grow guide that you can share with anyone to turn them into a grower. I don't ask my audience of anything, really. I don't think I've ever asked you guys for a favor, but I'm going to now. If there's a smoker in your life, send them to growcast.com and have them check out our free grow guide. We worked so hard on that thing. And like I said, we revamped all of Growcast membership. If you've been thinking about joining Growcast membership, now is the time. If you're an ex-member, there's never been a better time to get back in. Super simplified, super streamlined. We've now got Patreon chats, so we can help you out in your garden right away when you join. You don't have to get all the way in the Discord unless you want to. And if you do, we're hanging out in there every single day, talking about the Grand Pheno Hunt, where one member is going to win $1,000. The next round starts 2/15. Don't miss Grand Pheno Hunt round 2. More information at growcast.com/hunt. But in membership, we've got all sorts of benefits. Not only do we help our members in their gardens 24/7, 365 with accurate garden advice. There's so much bad advice out there, and we are here. Basically, insurance for your grow. We'll get you sorted, but that's just the beginning. We've also got hundreds of hours of bonus content, resources dropping all the time, engaging contests and giveaways in the chat constantly. Come and check it out, growcast.com. There you'll find membership, you'll find the show, you'll find the free beginner's guide. It's all up there, and I cannot wait for you to check out the new and improved Growcast membership. 7-day trial, come check it out. You will love it. Make sure you get in the Discord if you want to come party with me and all the members every single day. Or just check out the huge library of content, plus the discounts. There's a lot to chew on at growcast.com. Check it out. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate every single one of you members. Make sure you're in membership before 2/15 for the start of our new Grand Pheno Hunt. I'll see you there, everybody. Growcast.com, and check out the hunt at growcast.com/hunt. Okay, so I feel like we did the duck review pretty well. Really quickly before we move on, you popped some of those duck happy accident seeds. Let's just call it the happy accident seeds. And I got to talk about the phenos of those you gave me. What did the crosses of that duck herm end up like?
So I ended up popping, I think, about 10 seeds, and I kept 3 of the phenos to just kind of play with and see what happened, because the other stuff I had in the garden was fantastic. So I was kind of excited. I've never had, we've done some breeding, but I've never had a really open breeding happy accident like this. But I ended up with 3 different flavor profiles that I thought were really, really fun. There's one that is the second profile that smells like baby poop, just fruity baby poop, and not quite
is
like
that the litter box pheno?
Yeah.
The one that I called the litter box pheno?
Yes.
Okay, because I got a story about that one. What was that cross? What was the duck hit to?
So that was duck Confit and giggle gas in that one.
Giggle gas, and that's a soulfire, right? You were talking about soulfire earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
That was a soulfire. Yep.
Cool.
And then we had a duck Confit times guava nana. And I don't remember whose guava nana that was.
That one was good. That one was not
so good.
Didn't smell like straight up shit. That one smelled more palatable.
Yeah, that one had a very complex rotten fruit. It smelled like mash, like we were gonna make some grain alcohol or something. And then the last one is the one that I loved, and it was the Megamind times the duck confit. So the Megamind is also Soulfire genetics, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. And that one that was the one that was really, 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 it was deep, and it was just very, very layered. And the bud structure on it was just gorgeous. It had these really lovely tight rosettes, but it was still really big. It was just bulky. But yeah, those are kind of the 3 little fun things that came out of it. So we've been enjoying those.
Yeah. And 2 of them turned out purple, right? And then the litter box pheno was green?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I remember because the police officer had them on the back of my fucking car hood.
No.
Illinois police hassling me about cannabis. For all you Illinois people, and just in general, make sure to keep your legal weed in your trunk at all times. In Illinois, there's a law about they'll ticket you. They'll ticket you for having weed that's not in a dispensary container. It was crazy. They obviously they threw it out. They waived everything in the end, but the cops were hassling me. But what a story, Christina. And we told the story in membership. I'll tell it again in more detail soon. But a couple highlights from the story. One, they didn't care about the cut that April gave me. Shout out April. Shout out A Squared.
Aww.
We didn't even care about the cut. It was so bizarre. I was like, oh my God, like, am I going to be in trouble? And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I knocked over your plant. Like, let me give that back to you. And they give me back. They give me back the plant. And I'm like, okay. And then they ticket me for the flower. But the best part, Christina, was they had to go through all my stuff. And there was a bunch of seeds in there, and then there was a bunch of flowers in there. And you had these little teal dram vials. And when the lady cop opened up your litter box, Pheno, she physically recoiled from the smell and said, some of these smell, quote, some of these smell terrible. That's what she said.
Good.
I was like, it was like a fever dream. That whole thing was like a fever dream. But they took them. I was disappointed that they took them. I should have asked for them back at the courthouse. I should have been like, hey, now that you've waived everything, give me my medicine back. I want it. It's mine.
No.
So the litter box, Pheno, I 100% agree with Lady Cop. It smelled like a litter box that hadn't been changed in a while. It was so fucked up. That's the most off-putting strain I've ever smelled in my life, hands down, bar none. I'm saying it here on the show, Christina.
It's pretty nasty.
It is the most off-putting foul strain I've ever smelled. And here's the other thing about the litter box, Pheno. Really, really great buzz on it and tasted nothing like it smelled.
Nope.
Had a really nice, palatable taste. Tasted like the grape cream cake grandparent is what it kind of tasted like. And because of those funky donkey aromatics, it had a really nice buzz to it. Not that I got to finish it because it's somewhere in Southern Illinois right now, or probably smoked. Lady Cop probably smoked it.
She was like, it's so stinky, I need to take it home.
Yeah, totally. This smells awful. Puts it in her back pocket.
Exactly. Nobody else wants this, right?
Yeah, totally. This is the one you guys don't want. This is my favorite.
I love it.
Listen, let's cut to the chase. Enough joking around. Are you going to do seeds? Are you going to become a breeder?
I don't know. Last year's light leak situation really inspired me and made me a little bit less afraid of the pollen. I mean, when we've done pollen, it's been super controlled, super, super controlled. But, I don't have a commercial facility I have to worry about. And if I mess up my whole garden, I can still go to a dispensary. I mean, that's an option. So if I have to. But, I don't know. We're playing with the idea. Every year I'm open to new possibilities.
I love it.
And so I'm looking at these empty jars across the room from me right now thinking I really need to get them full, but also seeds are fun too.
What about you need a micro breeding project. You need to do a run.
I do.
And you turn off those fans and you take some pollen and then you get in there with a paintbrush and you just hit a couple of lowers. And my goodness, you can pull out 100 or 200 seeds just from lowers in a run and have the uppers be largely unaffected. You're right. To not be scared of pollen.
Yeah.
That's a really good lesson because I think a lot of people are super, super freaked out about that. And it's just nature, baby.
Exactly.
And you can do it. You can paint those lowers and you can do it in a way that's much more controlled than you might think. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. If you do end up doing some breeding projects, do you think duck would be a huge part of it or are you going to go explore and do a lot of different stuff?
No, duck is hanging out. It made the cut this last round. I went through and got rid of a lot of genetics that I'd been kind of holding on to and things that I just felt like had a lot more potential. But with having the issues in the garden this year, it made me be very particular about what I was going to keep. And so I've pared it down quite a bit. I've got some things that I'm really excited about. And there's some things that I just really want to find again. There's this strain called Special K running around. Thick is a garden here that's growing it. I don't know what the hell it is. I can't find any information on it. But I want to find out what's in it because it's one of the best things I found on the commercial market here.
Ooh, interesting. Why did you like it so much? If it impresses you at the dispo, then you're like, I got to find this thing.
Well, it reminded me of the Stropicana. I mean, it has these really pretty red buds. It's very trichomy. All the sugar leaves around it are covered in trichomes. But it has just this incredible rotten strawberry flavor to it. But I can't find anything about it. And then they did one that was WAP that's like a pineapple-y, and it has one of the strongest pineapple flavors that I've ever had.
Ooh, I feel like pineapple's been lost recently. Like it used to be such a good option. I feel like I haven't seen pineapple a lot recently.
These people are killing it. I don't know what they're doing. I need to find their IG or something because I keep going and checking out their flower because it's really good. And it's been a long time since I found something in the market that I was like excited to go buy or, excited for a new drop on.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to find some rotten strawberry this year. I've been looking and looking and looking. And ever since I lost that one, it's something that's just kind of hanging out in the back of my mind and I love it. And so I'm going to find it. But other than that, I want to play around with some of these things that I've accidentally made. And then I'm going to pull up some of the old crosses that we made a few years ago and kind of see if I can find some of those old things. So I used to do a lot of stuff with OGs. I really liked like Star Killer and Skywalker OG and some of those OG strains.
I don't see a lot of rosin with those types of strains. Do OGs traditionally not wash, or are there good washers out there?
There's good washers out there. We had great success with multiple ones. I think there's just such a trend for commercially for just chasing things and, trying to be what's next, that people don't give some of those things a good opportunity. And I think when those strains were popular, the hash making techniques were very different than they are today. And so I think if you look at the yields, 15 years ago versus yields today, people were drying on cardboard. Now they're drying in freeze dryers. There's just a lot of
improvements.
Yes.
From the pizza box
innovation.
to the freeze dryer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Tons of innovation in that time. I completely agree. And yeah, people have been sleeping on OGs. OG will always be king to me.
They're just complex.
I grew so much of it. If I was going to get sick of anything, it would be that. But I always love OGs constantly. So I would love to see you work some OGs. Technically, the Bickett, it's called Bickett OG. I'm not super familiar. I know Lime Rising Farms did work with it. Terp Wizard got his hands on it and then ended up making that duck confit. That's what shot off this whole funky terp thing. But I wonder what that OG lineage is in the Bickett OG. I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so yummy. So absolutely delicious.
So you're doing a hunt right now, right? Let's talk what you're working on like right now. What are you growing right now? You and I went to pop seeds together. Okay, let me tell a little story. First of all, okay, let me catch up here. First of all, shout out to all the members who are running that duck cut. Thank you for sharing it, Christina. If you ever lose yours, we have it now.
Yay! Good to know.
Shout out to Izzy Natural. Shout out to everybody in the hash room. Izzy Natural, Ziggy, Sherm, Rorkel, all those members killing it in the Growcast membership hash room, teaching people how to make amazing hash. Howitzer and Let's Grow, who put together a hash guide. And now a lot of people are working this same duck chrome cut. I'm calling it the chrome cut. And
nice.
The chrome duck. I could do some artwork with that. You know what I mean?
There you go.
And so we have it now. It's preserved and it's providing good medicine for good people across the Midwest currently.
Oh, good.
So shout out to everyone in the hash room who's doing that. Now we interact, in the Discord and we're texting each other and stuff. And you got interested in one of the last breeder features. Shout out Jeremy STL, who came on the show and a good guy, right? Just seems like he reminds me of you a lot.
Honestly, I just listened to the interview like 2 days ago and I was like, man, I really like this guy.
He reminds me of you a lot. He's down to earth. He's kind of like blue collar, regular guy. He's not going to talk to you about genomics. He's going to talk to you about the weed and how it hits. Yeah. And I think that's a great interview. You were interested in the snub nose and you said, let's pop the snub nose together. And then I failed. Your snub nose looks beautiful. I killed mine.
Well, you challenged me. You told me we were only going to pop one seed.
Yeah, and then mine died. That's why you never popped one seed. That's so stupid. And then I popped smacks. Shout out to Chi-Town Canada. I popped some smacks. I was like, no problem. Like I killed the snub nose. I popped smacks, and that seedling, I overwatered it, and it was the most deformed, little messed up thing. It's better now. I'm learning to grow again. Don't worry. I promise I'm a good grower, guys. But anyways. Your snub nose looks beautiful. It's Gary Payton crossed to
permanent marker.
Permanent marker,
right?
Yep, correct. Yeah. And yours has like a triple node mutation.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something weird I did when I was pruning it because I, try to immediately grow out clones as soon as I pop seeds. Like,
no,
I
that
immediately
was
start trying to clone everything. You think so? Okay.
I'm looking at it. Absolutely. You guys have seen like you grow a plant and it'll just quote top itself. It'll have like a split in the top where it's like, whoa, it automatically has two. And usually what happens, Christina, is like it'll grow and stop that mutation. Like the next branch set up, it won't double again on its own. Usually it'll just kind of grow normally from there. Yours does that, but it goes off into a trident. It's got 3 branches up at the top. And what I'm interested to see is the next set of branches going to triple? That would be insane. You got to keep us posted on that.
We will see. We'll see.
So very interesting that the one seed you popped again has a unique mutation. I bet that one's going to be beautiful. You got that magic touch. Rich is like that too.
She's
Farmer John is
doing
like
good.
that. Do you divine over the seeds before you pick one, or do you just like pick the first one you see? What's that like?
So I sort through and I make sure there's nothing that looks off or premature or, fugly that might not, do what I need to do. Like, I don't want to, give the plant, the best chance it's going to get, because I am so aggressive once I get in there. But after that, it's just counting them out, how many I'm going to do. I don't worry about stripes. I don't worry about size. I don't worry about color. I just make sure they're not cracked open already and, destroyed or too immature. But I have great luck popping seeds. And then I just don't get too sentimental about them until after I flower them. But once I flower them, it's pretty hard to get rid of them.
Wow, that's a really good explanation of how you grow. You're absolutely right. You tend to pop a lot. You tend to kill a lot if you don't like them. But then the ones that you hang on to, you get really attached to.
You get really, Jordan's like, you could probably get rid of that one, Christina. You don't need that one anymore.
I love it. It's good. I also want to shout out how organized you are. Do you have any tips for organization? There's ongoing jokes in membership where, I get very excited when I'm doing a grow tour with a member and they've got a whiteboard on the wall, and the whiteboard has all this information that it really is a thing that almost every grower listening can improve. Even if you're a 20-year master KNF guy, like, we can all be a little more organized. Do you have any suggestions on like keeping track of everything?
I really love a wall calendar. I do have like a grow diary journal where I talk a lot about, like, in it, where I put in details about things for the first couple of rounds when I'm just trying to get to know it as like a reference. And so, that's kind of like an ongoing thing that I have, but I don't, keep a calendar in that. But I do keep a physical wall calendar, and actually keep it in my kitchen, not in the grow, that, keeps track of where I'm at, how many days we are. That way I have that physical reminder somewhere in the house to see. And then I keep notes on that. And then I also double it up and I put it in my like calendar that I carry around with me. I keep notes in quite a few different places. I was telling you right before we got on air that I lost my actual grow journal today, couldn't find it. But the jars that I actually label, I go ahead and put notes on my jars too, so that I have it, in a few different places.
That's kind of crazy. That's a little excessive, but that pays off. We were talking about this, which is when you do analog note taking, when you keep your data analog, pen and paper style, I think it's better for your brain. I think it helps you think when you're not staring at a screen. I think it's a little more romantic and a little more intimate. I think there's a lot of benefits. The downside is if you lose that book, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The tech is the opposite for me. For me, it's like the last thing I want to do is train myself to look at my phone and go into my apps and take notes, right? But however, like, that's how you can keep everything in the cloud. That's how you can track and plot everything. So whatever works better for you, digital or analog, you need to be taking notes, and don't be like Christina. Don't lose the journal.
No, don't lose the journal. I was like, oh no. It's all good though. I mean, it's really good.
I'm sure you'll find it. It's got to be around.
It's probably in the trunk of my car. Yeah, totally. It's just too cold to go out and look for it.
Yeah, exactly. So what else we got here? Dang, this episode flew by. I do want to talk to you. Will you be a special guest? Will you do us the pleasure of joining us on the Grand Pheno Hunt Round 2 in February? I hear you're going to involve yourself.
I was pretty excited to hear that there was going to be a round 2, because I was just not like mentally prepared for round 1. But yeah, there's definitely some things that I've kind of wanted to revisit as far as seeds. And I love popping seeds so much that anytime there's an opportunity to grow along with other people or compare and do different things like that, I am almost always game if I have the bandwidth for it. And I think I've got the bandwidth in 2025. So I'm pretty pumped. February 14th.
And then like years go by, right? We're encouraging people pop their old packs. We're encouraging people pop their rare packs and stuff that they've like been sitting on, their special stuff. And the idea is you can win $1,000 from popping this pack. Now, if we're doing a hunt with anyone's genetics, people say like, well, how do you make the odds even? How do you make it fair? Here's how we're doing it. It's a point system. Each hunter gets 12 points. Regs count as 1 point. Fems count as 2 points. So this means you can pop 12 regs and try to get lucky and have more plants and a better chance. Or you might not get lucky. Or you can go with the guaranteed 6 fems or a combination. It's a point.
One day.
Okay? Secondly, you only lock in your final pheno hunt plants after they've broken ground as a seedling. So this way, if you're popping old ass seeds that you don't know if they're going to pop and you're worried your lineup is going to be short, send extra. And then once they've broken ground, you're going to pick your final lineup and then you're locked in. We're going to make you post it in the channel and you're locked in. So that's how this is going to work. I'm so excited about it. And someone's going to win $1,000. What are you popping, Christina? Do you know yet? Do I hear you rummaging right now?
You hear me rummaging right now. I mean, you absolutely do. No, I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. So I'm definitely going to pop some Oni Seeds Tropicana.
Ooh.
And then Seattle Chronic.
Oh,
right?
Shout out. That's amazing. So wait, the same Tropicana pack is the legendary cut. You're hoping to find another magical one out of that. I love that.
Yeah, I think I have like 80 seeds from that company, like just from Tropicana still.
Wow.
So
Okay. I love that. Rich is going to love that strain. And then what are you going to pop from Seattle Chronic Seeds? Our buddy Rab.
Okay. So I popped some black jelly earlier this year and it was through the light leak and the plant was fine, but I never got the quality of flower out of it that I love. But what I did get was these amazing terpenes and flavors. And so I want to give this black jelly another run.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking about his Boz.
Oh, is that a Melvin's cross? I think that's it. Yeah.
It is. Yes, it's the Bicket OG and Melvin.
Oh, so, that's like the sweetest strain I've had in the past few years and the most foul strain I've had in the past few years.
So I also want to pop these double stuffed Oreos, but I don't know. I'm afraid.
So I will say this, and
I don't do
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk for Rich. I could be completely off base here. I do want to get him on the show, but I do know Rich has 2, maybe 3 keepers of double stuffed Oreos right now, and I don't know if that means that you shouldn't pop those double stuffed Oreos because he's already got some, or if that means that
just there's so many
he loves it. He loves that fucking strain, and you'd be more likely to. So we're gonna have him on the show soon. He's been doing stuff with family and working very hard behind the scenes and super busy, but he will be back and we'll find out. Yeah, I'm super excited, Christina. Thank you for joining us on that hunt. That's exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be super fun. And I haven't done anything in the community in a little bit. So it'll be nice to kind of get back to it. Try to learn how to use Discord. Maybe my 15-year-old can teach
listen,
me.
You're going to love it. I was recently turning up my Instagram engagement and looking through the comments. Most of them are lovely, but it does remind me about how toxic the rest of the internet is. If you just hang out in the Growcast membership Discord, you would never know the rest of the cannabis community is like that. So,
dude, for real.
So it's been interesting going out into Instagram, and it's like, you know what? I don't think we even really want this guy to be in our community anyways. So we'll just part ways. So listen, it's been fantastic watching you evolve through this journey where you were doing this amazing work in the industry full time and then very gracefully step out of it and step into this new chapter. So thank you for being an awesome patient advocate. Thank you for being an awesome cannabis cultivator and community member. And thank you for being an awesome friend, Christina. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. And thank you for creating such a great platform to help people get introduced to growing cannabis and then grow as growers, because your platform has always been so approachable. And, as much and how awesome organic gardening is, it's not for everybody all the time. And it's really nice that there's a place that I can send patients to get really great information, get all kinds of help and support, and have a really positive experience growing cannabis. Thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet of you. Thank you. Listen, I got to give you a chance to talk about Bloom Healthcare, where people can go to get their Oklahoma med cards. If you want people following your personal Instagram account or the old Insta on Chrome 6, where can people find you?
So my personal is Okie Chronicles, and I do share some of my grow stuff in my stories, but my actual page is mostly pictures of pugs. So you're welcome to follow me there. Chrome 6 is pretty shadow banned, and I don't really have any intention of doing much posting there because Instagram is very angry at it. And so anything I do going forward, and if I do a breeding project or anything like that, it will not be there. It'll be under Okie Chronicles, or I do have a potential genetics page set up that we'll share in the future.
Teaser. That's great. And then Bloom. Talk about Bloom.
Yes. So bloomdoctors.com or Bloom Doctors on Instagram and Facebook. We're an online only medical marijuana clinic in Oklahoma. If you're 18 and over, you can reach out to us and we're happy to help you get your med card.
Can you get an out-of-state med card when you visit Oklahoma?
If you are in a state where you have a med program and you are a current med card holder, You just have to fill out an application and submit all of your documents and your med card from your state. And we do have a reciprocity. It costs $105 and it's only good for 30 days. And so you have to plan strategically when you're going to be here. But yes, you can get a temporary out of state card.
So I recommend people do that. Like if we do the Community Cup again this year, or you're coming down to the Natural Farming Immersive, stay the weekend in Tulsa, in Oklahoma City. Great city to go visit, and make sure you get your med card so you can go around with impunity and shop at all the stores and do all that fun stuff.
And you do not have to have an appointment with our doctor. You don't have to see another doctor if you have a med card in another state. You just have to fill out our application online with the state and pay the fee.
Fantastic, Christina. Listen, this episode was amazing. You rock. Keep us posted on everything. I look forward to seeing you in the Grand Pheno Hunt. Any final words before we sign off? Anything you'd like to say to the audience?
I just hope everybody has a great 2025, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
Of course, and I'll keep you up to date on the mutated fucked up smacks while your snub nose takes off beautifully. And I'll keep you updated, everybody. As always, make sure you are up to date. Growcast.com. Go sign up for the email list. Go check out all the new functions of the site. We've got episodes up there, some new really cool stuff coming on the way. It looks beautiful. It's growcast.com. Go check it out. It's all there, but I just appreciate you tuning in to this show. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your ears out there across the world, and I'll be back with more Growcast. Be safe out there, everybody. This is Christina from Chrome 6 and Jordan River signing off saying grow smarter and never grow alone. That's our show. Thank you so much to Christina for being an awesome guest. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, and special thank you to the members. Growcast.com, it's the new website. It's brand spanking new. Membership is new and improved. Go check it out. Jump in membership. Make sure that you're in there before February. We got a grand pheno hunt you're not going to want to miss, everybody. Growcast.com. Go check it out. Shout out to Rooted Leaf Nutrients before we wrap the show. RootedLeaf.com. Code GROWCAST for 20% off. The world's best bottled nutrients. No pH required. Just mix and feed. Throw your plants in some ProMix. Use Rooted Leaf at the medium feed chart that you can find on their website, and then water to runoff each time. This is the easy mode for creating some of the most dense, flavorful, frosty cannabis that you can get your hands on. I love Rooted Leaf. It absolutely rips. It's loaded with carbon. It's made of a bunch of plant ferments. Really, really cool line. RootedLeaf.com, code GROWCAST for 20% off. If you're not completely satisfied with how your nutrition is going right now, go grab some Rooted Leaf and tell them GROWCAST sent you with code GROWCAST. All right, everybody, that's it. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one. Go share that guide with a grower. We're really focused on overgrow this year. Going to cannabis smokers and convincing them to grow. Not targeting new growers who have already decided, but convincing smokers to start for the first time. If there's someone in your life you want to turn on to growing, send them to growcast.com and have them download the free beginner's guide. I think it's the best in the world. Thank you, everybody. Keep doing amazing things in your garden. Keep spreading the mission of overgrow. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
There's more than 3 flavors. I used to think it was skunk, gas, and scat.